This was some old wood that somebody donated for us, and we thought it'd be really cool and really exciting to get a nature scene painted on the drum from which it came from.
I'm Dennis Shannon. I'm an artist from Tifton, Georgia. I'm 63 years old and I've been painting for about 50 years. About 6 months ago, Mr. Michael Outlaw contacted me, having seen some of my artwork on the internet, and commissioned me to paint a drum shell made of cypress wood from the Okefenokee swamp. I particularly like reptiles, so in the course of painting the drum shell for Mr. Outlaw, the first consideration was what would be proper to put on the drum shell to illustrate that the lumber came from the Okefenokee swamp. I went to the woods and I found wild honeysuckle growing, and I cut off a few sprigs and brought it home. I made sketches of the blooms, the vines, and the leaves, the number of the leaves on the vine, and the way the blooms were grouped. I already knew what barbed wire looked like because my granddaddy had a farm. This is how the snake starts. This is how the honeysuckle and the barbed wire start, with a drawing. It took me about 2 weeks to finish all of my drawings and get everything cut before I placed it on the drum. It took me about 3 or 4 days to come up with the pattern for the logo where the embossed label is. I sat down with a sketchbook and a pencil and eraser, and I worked up half of this shape, and I knew in my mind I wanted it to look like a heraldry device made of swamp materials. So I used cattails and the stems and leaves of the cattail plant to make up the heraldry device. It took 3 weeks to paint the entire drum shell, and it took 2 weeks to do all the preliminary work, which included researching plants, collecting specimens, looking at photographs of snakes. So all total, about 5 weeks of artwork went into the drum shell. This is an Iwata Eclipse airbrush. This is the airbrush I used to paint Mr. Outlaw's drum shell. This is a Japanese model airbrush. It's a very precise instrument. It's really dependable. It's a workhorse.